I'm starting in the middle of a round fabric rug, and this is how I like to start them, the same as I do with my oval rugs, but just a smaller start. So I do 1.5 inch in the middle, and then I fold it all the way around, and then that's going to be my little center where I'm going to be coiling it around. After I sew down that little first triangle flap, I then sew down the middle and over the second flap, and that's where I'm at right now. These first curves are the trickiest because you have to really bunch the fabric up the most. So here is where I am. I like to take my fabric out and I kind of bend it like this. I think it gives it a nice natural little bend there. You can see how the fabric pleats up in the middle. And then I take my fingers and I scrunch it and I just adjust to my liking there so that I can get a nice fold in there and a nice outer edge. And then I go in and I pin it in different spots here. You can also use a low setting iron to help press it down a little too if needed. But that's it, that's how I do it. I'm continuing on with the center of my round fabric rug. These first few rounds you really need to bunch up the fabric. So see how I folded it right there and how it kind of looked all wonky like? You want to pay attention to how it is that you're lining up your fabric rope next to each other. So see how that looks much cleaner and nicer? So I just take it out and I bunch it up, and you want to get all that material in there kind of to lay nice and neat and folded. So then I go in and I pin it where I want it, and then I continue sewing. So that's all I'm doing. I'm using a zigzag stitch. The settings on my machine, I like using 5 for width and 2.5 for length. You really need to just take your time with these, and just to make sure that you're getting your zigzag stitch on both sides of the fabric. You don't want your fabric overlapping. You just want it to lay nice and neat right up against each other like this. And you just take your time and let the machine do the work for you. I love using my walking foot because I feel like it just helps so much. So again, see how I'm folding the fabric right here? I'm kind of just using my fingers to scrunch it and to bend it. And see how it works right there, and you get that nice round outside? This is what has worked for me on my rugs. So I hope that it works for you too. If you need to use more pins, go ahead and use more pins. Even use your little iron and press too to help. I did that a lot when I first started, but now that I've been making these for a while, I don't use as many pins and I really don't need to iron as much anymore. That also can depend on the fabric you use. Some fabrics just need a little bit more help and are a little bit more tricky. So my rug is growing, and as you can see, I don't need to scrunch my fabric up as much now because those curved ends are just a lot wider. So you're not having as much fabric that needs to be pleated up on that inside bend. So as you can see, I'm just kind of making sure that there's a little bit, but not a whole lot scrunched up. I will note that I do sew with my seams on the outside with my rugs. If you want to sew it the other way where the seam is on the inside so it looks a little different, you can do that. It's just a personal preference. I don't think there's any issue either way. I just find that the material and everything just works so much nicer for me, and I've just grown accustomed to doing it this way. So at this stage too, I'm just making sure that I'm not pushing and tugging. I'm letting the machine do the work. You want that material to go nice and even through as it's feeding and sewing with that zigzag stitch. Just take your time and just pay attention to how it is that it's sewing as you're feeding it through, and I think that helps.